Thank you for joining us today. Let's get your reaction on the results about the presidential election so far.
Well, I followed the election extremely closely, and it's been a very interesting election. The president made a judgment which has been announced in the international network. He has enormous experience in the local government, in the boards and corporations, in the state government, as vice president, and then as president. I will not lightly underrate the judgment of such a person. We should be very careful the way we pass judgment. One of the problems of Africa is an ability of the black man to want to leave office. I was in South Africa in a year or two ago to deliver a major lecture at the University of Cape Town, and I was extremely impressed by what I saw. Mandela was in prison for 27 years, and when he came back, he served government for only 1 year, and he dropped out. He had the opportunity of being there for 2 or 3 times, or even more, but he didn't. One of the greatest drawbacks of the black race is an ability to make a sound judgment at the right time and to leave the office when they leave office. I don't have access to the intelligence report or to other matters of government to which President Jonathan has, but I've dealt with him for many, many years, and I stand his judgment and I accept what he has said.
What's your impression about fulfilling the requirements of the law with the results of these elections, although we're waiting the final one, that's Borno State?
Well, you see, when you make a judgment whether to leave or where to go, that is not an objective judgment. That is subjective. You've got to look at the facts and make a judgment. Now, you and I have no access to the facts of government. We have no access to the intelligence services. We have no access to a lot of things he knows. So we should be very, very careful in the way we make judgments. I had the privilege of being in the past federal government, and I know how tough and difficult things are. I know how tough and difficult things were under Balewa when I was Federal Minister of Education. And I also know how tough and difficult were when I was Attorney General under Alhaji Shehu Shagari. You've got to make a very sound judgment, and I have reason to believe that those people have sound judgment. I will not rush to judgment on the matter without knowing more facts. But from what I've seen and what I've read, what I know so far, I accept what the president has done.
What do you think the dispensation of governance will be like for General Buhari?
Well, I know General Buhari a long time. When he was commander in Ibadan, I know him. And also, when I was in the federal government as Attorney General, I know him. When we had problem in Chad, we sent him to be the commander. The president sent him to be the commander there. When about several of our islands in Chad were taken. And he was the commander there. He's calm, he's cool, and I believe, and he's a reasonable person. But what judgment he will make under a civilian rule, your guess is as good as mine. I know his judgment when he was ministry. He was overthrown, whether rightly or wrongly, I will make a judgment on that. But let us wait and see what he will do as a civilian ruler. That is very, very critical. If he does well, it will go into history. If he does badly, it will also go into history.
What about if we take account of what he says about him being a reformed Democrat? Isn't that an indication of perhaps what to expect?
I cannot make a judgment on that one. In my view, he has never been a Democrat, as far as I know. So I won't make a judgment on what I don't know. If I can make a judgment on him, I've got to see him in governance for 1, 2, 3, or 4 years. Then I can pass a judgment. But now, I reserve that judgment.
Okay, well, there were many others who also thought that in their lifetime, they've been able to, in their words, see an era change, a new one come through. To them, they think that that is significant. What do you think of that?
What do you say? I didn't hear that.
Well, many people at this point in time saying, look, they've been able to see in their lifetime, especially in Africa, where an era begins and another ends, their vote ultimately counting. And they say to a large extent, it empowers the Nigerian people all the more.
Well, you see, democracy means somebody comes, somebody goes away. And this is a reversal. People have to make a judgment whether they like it or not. And I would like to make a judgment of him as a Democrat until I've seen his performance for the next 1, 2, 3, or 4 years. I reserve my judgment on that.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Chief Richard Akinjide.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
In the First Republic.